Hey y'all, it's Oxy, your favorite miserable asym content creator. Today I got my viewers and community to ask me some questions for a video, and I'll try and answer them the best I can. If you want to know a bit more about the guy behind the gameplay of my hundreds of server wipe videos, here's your chance. Starting off hot, a lot of people ask me why I played Forsaken and why I continue to. I was a huge fan of Dead by Daylight. I have like 3,700 hours in the game, which is like 154 days. I used to also create content, which was actually the start of my content creation journey. This was back during COVID times, like 2020. I ended up burning out Dead by Daylight though, and vanished off the internet for a good while, until Forsaken came along. I was one of the early Forsaken players, like in 2025, who played when the game released, and I had a lot of fun learning the mechanics and exploring Roblox myths, I guess. It was similar to what I had already known, as I played countless asym games in my life, and after a few months of gameplay I finally decided to give content creation a shot, as I've done it before, and now we're here I guess. Alright, next, a question from Do Not Scan Me Please. Oh, it's a QR code. Let's say one person keeps beating me in a game for 6-7 hours. Is this a troll? Okay, well, I would probably just leave the lobby. I'm someone who doesn't engage in online banter. I would just remove myself from the situation. Also, playing Forsaken for that long? Yeah, highly unlikely. In my opinion, what was Forsaken's strongest update? Easily Noli update. That's when the game peaked for me. The concurrent players also don't lie. That was when the game was at its highest. What is my opinion on Bite by Night? So the game has potential. I played it for a bit and well, it was neat. Movement still feels very off. And Springtrap, in my opinion, plays clunky and has some questionable design choices. I think a game's first impression it makes on a player is very important, and Bite by Night for me currently just sits at a game I'll play every once in a while. I'll talk about Springtrap for a bit though. My biggest complaint is how the player has very little freedom and control of the killer. Why does my axe automatically appear in my hand after a while? I could be about to charge, and then my axe recalls, so I bend over and place a trap. And there's also no point in picking up your axe manually either. When I first started playing, I thought throwing your axe where you want to go and then picking it up was a strategy. Then I figured out I just never want to have the axe in my hand. Do I have pets? Yeah, I have a pet cat. His name is Buffy. He's not very cuddly, but he kind of just coexists in the same house as me. Here are some pictures of him. Alright, we got a lot of questions here. Why did I start a YouTube channel? I wanted money. I had a lot of TikTok followers at the time, so I was like, alright, my content is not being monetized because I'm in Canada, and YouTube pays. So I was like, alright, we're moving to YouTube. What was my inspiration when I started making Forsaken content? I already answered that. How old am I? I'm 20 years old. How to join my games? My profile joins are always on, so just go on my profile. Now, with these two questions about if I were to make an asym horror game, what would I do to make it better, and talking about stamina slop, I wholeheartedly believe that I couldn't make a perfect asym game even if I wanted to. Because a lot of people, it's preference based. Some people like stamina, some people don't. And I'm simply I became someone who doesn't like it because it's just really stale. And I'm someone who constantly wants to be learning and improving at something, where stamina is a very hard limiter. And you could just be like, alright, I'm gonna just make a game that doesn't have stamina like Dead by Daylight. Well, games like Dead by Daylight have been done before, and I've played them before, and I don't think I'm a big fan of asym games in general anymore. I've been playing different games, which maybe there will be a question asking about that down the line. This is a good question. Will I ever return to competitive Forsaken? Probably not. Unless there's really good content potential, I probably won't waste my time going back into it. And do I care when people call me a pub stomper? I used to. Because back when I wasn't getting monetized, that was like the one thing I held close to my heart. Like, yes, I want to believe I'm really good at the game. And yes, I want to prove people wrong that I was good at the game. I streamed on TikTok before. And, I had to convince people that I was good to get them to stay watching me. Now, not really, because I get monetized by just playing the game mediocrely and posting it on YouTube. And I make like 10 times the amount of money I did on TikTok, so I really don't care. Like, call me a post stomper all you want, it's whatever. My favorite asym game I played probably would just be Forsaken, and not because of gameplay or anything, it's because it let me get a taste of wealth. it made me feel like as a 20-year-old, I'm finally getting somewhere in life by getting money and getting a job. So yes, you know, Forsaken is my favorite because I'm basically employed in Forsaken by making content for it. If I could manage Forsaken for a day, what were some big things I would change? Well, I don't think I'd really change anything fundamental in the game, because I don't think I'm qualified for that. But I'd probably just give myself every single dev skin so I can make content off of it. What inspired me to be a content creator? Well, I think at first it was the idea of helping others. I wanted to be someone that people could... It sounds egotistical when I say this. I wanted to be someone that people could look up to and say, wow, Oxy, you're so cool. I would love to play the video game like you do someday. Now it's just more like, it's whatever. I just want to make money. You know, I just want money. I'm in my 20s. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a cool car. So, yeah. If Roblox died, what game would I move to and continue making content for, aside from Dead by Daylight? Well, Dead by Daylight would be my first answer, but I could step into Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege. Both games I enjoy playing to an extent. Rainbow Six Siege is very fun with friends. And I think my friend group I play with is pretty funny, so probably those two. Reason why I like Forsaken and Die of Death. Well, I love how I get money from it, but I assume you're talking about gameplay-wise. It's very easy to look like you're good at the game with Forsaken and Die of Death. Forsaken has Noli. Die of Death, you just slap people around until they fall over. And Harken in Die of Death, it makes you look very good if you kill someone extremely quickly. Even though Harken is just, you know, don't let her get enraged. In a nutshell, I'm saying it's easy to clip farm. Alright, we got a few questions here, but back when I started playing Forsaken, what were my favorite skins for each killer and survivor? Alright, I'm gonna be nostalgia baiting with this one, but when Retro Jason got his second chase theme, the one that everyone knows him by, I love that theme. Yeah, I'm gonna die on this hill. I'm not nostalgia, I'm not like blinded by nostalgia, guys. I swear, I love the theme. And survivor, I like Pirate Shaletsky because he had this bug that made him always happy and smiling no matter how injured he was, and I thought that was pretty cool. My favorite skin now would probably be Advent Noli and Survivor. Okay, I have your self-guessed, so I'm gonna say your self-guessed. Yeah, I don't think Roblox Asym's got the last man standing system right. Because in Dead by Daylight, if you have the last survivor escape through the hatch, which is kind of just like last man standing, it's a race to whoever finds a hatch first, you don't really feel bad. You know, you already won the game, you stomped out the entire team, everyone's dead, and the last survivor gets a pity win so the game doesn't drag on forever. It's whatever. But with Forsaken and Die of Death, if you lose last man standing, like, you lose. And it makes players play in a certain way knowing this, because you would typically try and just lower one survivor down, leave them at like one shot, and then chase other guys, so last man standing is like a free win for you. And I don't think it's really fun for either side. You know, being that second survivor, being dropped to 10 health and not even dying, like, you might as well just reset, right? Like, you might as well reset. Or being the killer in this case, where you have to just purposely let a survivor live so you don't have a chance of losing last man standing. I think last man standing should be redone in Roblox Asyms, but I'm not really sure how they can fix it, but I'm sure someone who has more game design experience can figure it out. Oxy, will we ever collab IRL? Well, I don't know, it's completely up to you. I'm too lazy to drive 40 minutes down, so if you want to like meet in the middle somewhere, totally down. He's another content creator who plays Forsaken a lot more than I do. He has almost 100 days. I told him, once he hits 100 days playtime on Forsaken, I'll do a collab with him. I told him that. Okay, this question is an interesting one, because I don't think asym games will ever dry out. Take Dead by Daylight for example. There are obviously times where Dead by Daylight has less players than usual, but obviously with every update, it eventually just pops back up. You can't kill a game like Dead by Daylight, and Forsaken is like the Dead by Daylight of Roblox, where it's kind of like a central hub where a lot of different iconic killers or icons all band together in the Spectre to, you know, slaughter survivors, right? I don't think a game like that can die out, but will I branch outwards towards other content? Honestly, probably not, and only for the reason that people like doing what they're familiar with. And obviously, I probably should consider branching out, but I'm currently, that's too much of a hassle, you know? Why branch out when I can just play the game, server wipe and post it, get some money, and then, you know, rinse and repeat, right? Alright, we have a lot of questions here again. If I were to quit content creation, would I lock down the server? Really sucks to say this, but probably. Not that I plan to quit anytime soon. I hope not, at least. But yeah, I probably will lock it down so people can look back and be like, yeah, I remember Prime Oxy from 2025. You know, he played Forsaken like every single day on stream. What's the biggest life advice I would like to give out? I don't really have any. But if I were to say one thing, don't let negativity get to you. Just don't. How do I deal with burnouts? I just stopped playing the game. I haven't played Dive Death in like months, and I haven't played Forsaken in like days. I follow a strict, you know, Forsaken every so often rule, you know, like maybe once every 3 days, 4 days, I play Forsaken for 1 day. What is my comfort meal? I don't have one. Will we see you be more active in other servers if I quit CC? No. I'll probably just vanish off the face of the internet. Am I gonna hit 2k killer wins or not? Probably. I hope so. That means I'm still playing the game. So yeah, probably someday. What's my favorite killer in Forsaken? Noli. He has the most view farming potential. You know, he has the most clip farming potential. You void rush around the map and the crowd goes wild. Yeah, I don't know. He's just fun to play. What's my favorite milestone on both sides? I think my highest on killer is actually Slasher. And I think my highest on Survivor is Guest. No. I don't get why so many people have asked me this. What's the appeal of seeing me play on a phone? No. Alright, I've had enough. That's enough question answering. I don't think I'm ever gonna do this again. I hate voicing over stuff. I'd rather just play the game and post it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.